See, and these are the things that like I never really get to hear about with whenever Bruce was running the NWA, which Bruce, I've never had any bad experiences with Bruce. Bruce is
no, and I haven't either, and I like Bruce. I really do. It's just I don't feel like he wasn't giving it what he could have given it. You know,
right?
I think just he was too spread too thin. So, yeah. But you know, when you're in charge of an entity like that, which has some history about it, which is still a valuable product, a valuable brand, you should take it a little bit more seriously, especially if you're the head and the face of that company. But he didn't. Yeah. So
you're right.
I think that was what led to a lot of the demise there. So, but
dang, I tell you who doesn't like Bruce, freaking Bruce Pritchard. Two Bruces. They hate each other. Well, I don't know if Bruce Thorpe hates Bruce Pritchard, but I know Bruce Pritchard hates Bruce Thorpe.
Yeah, and I know why, but I'm not going to get into that. So
yeah, we don't have to. I mean, it's not our business.
I know why. Talked to some folks who were on the inside of a lot of that as the NWA was going through that particular transition. So. It's pretty crazy stuff.
So in NWA 360, which it's crazy all the names you had rolling through there, and you mentioned that you also designed the 360 championship. I wanted to ask, where else was the 360 championship defended? Wasn't it like a secondary title used in main event as well?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay,
because they had their title, they had their the main event title, and then they had their cruiserweight title, and then they had their Southern States title. So
okay, that's right.
Yeah,
because I remember I
don't think it was ever defended there, but could be wrong.
Because I remember there was, I think the night that we crowned the first Lions Pride 360 champion.
Mm-hmm.
I remember throughout that week.
Hammerstone.
R.I.P. God rest his soul.
What?
I mean, he's no longer. He's such a big star. I mean, he doesn't come to Texas anymore. He's flown past us. I mean,
hey, that's good for him,
dude. I know. God, I'm so proud of him.
Big beefy bastard.
Dude, what the hell happened to him? That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
I remember, it's insane. I remember being in the back with him in Hearn, Texas, and he was asking me, man, what do you think? What do you think else I could do in the ring? He was asking me at the time. I was just doing a podcast. He was asking me what he should do in the ring, and I'm like, dude, I don't know, man. You look like a friggin' star. Go out through the curtain. That's all you have to do.
Just go out there. Yeah. And, man, Hammerstone's been doing it a while, and really just kind of blew up in the last year and a half, 2 years. But I mean, he was well on his way up before that, and the whole MLW thing is great. I mean, he'd wrestled in Japan, and I think he's went on his second tour of Japan, I think, just a few months back. And But no, man, good for him. But yeah, he was the first Lions Pride 360 champion.
Yeah, and that's awesome. Because I remember the week of, I remember reading stuff that I was like, yeah, I remember that belt in main event. And I remember even Rod Sterling, of course. He was telling me, oh yeah, they used that in main event. That was main events. That was one of main events belts, and they weren't doing anything with it.
No.
Okay.
No.
Wow. Okay. So the rumors have been cleared up. The belt was never defended in main event.
Yeah, not to my knowledge, and I don't remember, because Aaron would have told me, I think.
Right.
You know, I've done main event a handful of times, but
Of course.
I don't believe that was ever used there, because Carson was the last 360 champion before it was. We folded and then reintroduced the title for that scramble match where Hammerstone was crowned.
Cool. That was an awesome show. That was the show you came on a golf cart.
Yes. University of Texas Longhorns golf cart in the middle of Aggie land.
Beautiful.
I'm going to get stabbed or shot one of these days, I'm sure.
Hey, I mean, it's a possibility. you got to go to some really small town in Texas, do a show at like the bingo hall or the youth center or the high school gym and the middle school gym, whatever school they have.
I think you're basically just talking about independent wrestling at that point.
Yeah.
You named all the venues that independent wrestling uses. So
yeah. The car wash. The
car wash. Tire shop.
The tire shop in front of like the only restaurant in town in the parking lot. People drive by, they honk their horns.
I've been there.
You've been there?
Yeah.
Oh God.
So, those are the ones you try to forget about, right? Until somebody brings it up and you're like, oh, that's right. Because it was 110 degrees that day and that canvas was like an oven.
Oh God.
Or a hot stovetop, rather.
Damn.
So, yeah.
It's pretty gruesome. Anyway, back to talking about your life. So we I think we left off at was it NSF turning into 360? Yeah.
So then I moved up to DFW. And
Dallas Fort Worth, for some of you who don't know what DFW means.
If you don't, then just stop listening now and stop.
Well, we're going to lose a bunch of viewers if you say something like that. They don't know.
Right.
That DFW could mean Delta, Fargo,
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. I believe that's a city outside of never heard of thisville. So yeah, I moved up to Dallas Fort Worth. I had taken a job up here in the car business. That's what I was doing previously, and moved up this way and started. And I'd been up here maybe 4 or 5 months, I guess, and then I was taking bookings here and there for places like Texoma and TASW, and so getting to TASW, that's where all the magic happened. Texas All-Star Wrestling in Cypress, Texas. So just outside of Houston. That's where I guess made a name for myself in the wrestling business, I suppose. That's where the booking started to fly in, I guess. So I'd done one show for TASW, and I believe it was March of 2016, and wrestled down there. I can't even remember. I wrestled a kid named Chris Lyons. I hit the moonsault from the top rope. There was a video of it. It went online and got like close to 20,000 views or whatever, which was pretty cool. But I was talking to Bob, the owner of TSW, and we were talking about my next booking. Excuse me. And he said, "Oh yeah, we've got Sean Hernandez coming in." I said, "Well, Bob, I'm not going to lie to you. I do not get along with Sean." And I had maintained for 8 years what a piece of crap I thought Sean was, because he is. So it's not like I was lying or just spreading lies about someone or just being that type of person. Sean's not a good individual. He's not a good person. So I told Bob, I go, don't get along with him. I said, man, I'm going to come down here. I'm going to work for you, but I don't, if there's if anything happens, I wanted to let you know that I did not initiate it. So, but I will take care of business if I have to. And he's like, oh no, it's fine. It's okay. Everything will be okay. And apparently Bob and Sean had a falling out some 15 years before that. And they had just patched things up, and he was bringing Sean in for the first time in forever. And so June rolls around. I think that's when the booking. Yeah, that was the month. And I go down to Houston, Cypress, and get to the venue. And it's at the Cypress VFW, and that's where like Lone Star Pro Wrestling used to run, which used to be NWA Houston and all that. So there's a lot of history venue. So get to the show, go into the back, and I put my stuff down, and I take my gimmicks, my merchandise out of the bag, and I go take them to the merchandise table. I'm setting it up out there, and I saw Sean. He was there. He was in the locker room. We didn't really say anything. We didn't say anything to each other. Didn't even really look at each other. So, which that was that by design. I wasn't there to talk to him. I was going to avoid him. Just if I could, had nothing to say to him. I don't need to shake his hand because screw him, right? And so go put my merchandise at the table. I come to the back, start taking my gear out, getting my gear ready, and I see him approaching me. And I couldn't hear what he was saying, but he was saying something because they have these fans on in the banquet hall, which is the locker room, because that's the only available area for us. So it was a banquet hall, which is a part of the VFW. So as he's getting closer, you can finally hear him saying, "Oh, you want to talk all that shit, fat boy? You talking all that shit?" And I'm like, "All right, cool." So I put my hand out. I'm gonna shake his hand, just be done with it. I was like, "All right, cool, man." And so he says, "Fuck your handshake, fat boy." And so I put my arms up to my sides, or my hands up to my sides, and I go, "All right, Sean." And then he kicks me in the face. So did not kick me hard enough. So I first thing I see red at that point, and the first thing I do is I come up with a right, and I punch him right in the mouth. And then I continue to punch him repeatedly. And at this point, the locker room has seen what's going on, and they start trying to separate us. So Byron was there, Big Daddy Yum Yum. See David Starr. Smoke the Reaper Kid. He's actually the guy that Sean fell back into. Smoke was standing there, and Sean fell into him. That's what kept Sean on his feet. Because if you watch the video, and yes, there is video, when I punched him, Sean's knees went weak, and he started to stumble back. But Smoke is what kept him upright. So, yeah, Byron, Big Daddy Yum Yum. There was David Starr, not the David Starr that's actually famous or has an actual name. It's the other David Starr. A bunch of the guys that worked for TASW at the time, so like the Estrella Galactica. I can't think of some of the other guys' names. Drawing a blank.
Steve
here.
DeMarco?
No, DeMarco wasn't there at the time. So DeMarco didn't start working back for TSW until a couple years ago. So,
okay.
Jason Sullivan.
Haha, love Jason.
So a couple of the guys, there's a lot of the regulars that work down there. Right. So I've got Sean kind of like headlocked, right, and we're against this table, and I'm ready to start giving him the old Nolan Ryans. So
I like that.
But right before that happens, the whole locker room is made their way to us, and they're getting us separated. And I hear Byron say, "That's enough. That's enough. You've hit him enough." And let me do my Byron impression. "Hey man, stop hitting him. You done hit him enough. Oh, stop it, bro. Come on, stop hitting him." So
that's perfect.
So I let him go, right? And I let him go, and I'm backing up. But as I've let him go, Sean comes up and sucker punches me right in the cheek. But it didn't hurt, right? Cool. He got one. So they back me up to the opposite side of the room, right? And then as I look over, Sean has blood coming out of his mouth. He's got a